Hello everyone, Victor Tanzik here, and welcome to the Reddit Railway. Today I have a collection of customer-submitted stories to share, so all aboard! I'm on the board of directors for a local narrow gauge railway. I'm quite a bit younger than the other directors, think college age. The reason I'm on the board is due to my experience working on other heritage lines. I also have my own locomotive that I use on the line, a 15-inch Southern PS4 462 that I streamlined to mimic Southern number 1380. I call her Bertha. I run her up and down the branch and we have a spotless record. One time we had a Karen visit the railway. She practically belittled me for my age, saying I should grow up and stop playing Thomas the Tank Engine. She also berated my colleagues because apparently railways should only be for children. I shrugged it off and went about my day. On my return trip, I was pulling out of our middle station when I suddenly derailed. I jumped off after dropping the fire and saw that several track spikes were missing. We got Bertha re-railed and brought her to the workshop while another locomotive took the passengers. While repairing Bertha, the manager walks up with an iPad and shows me a video. Apparently, the Karen had asked the ticket lady when I would return. She then borrowed a spike puller from our workshop and sabotaged the track, somehow without anyone noticing, but the cameras caught the whole thing. It blows my mind how far some people will go just because they don't get a reaction out of you. Me too. Fuck you, Karen. Railways aren't just for children. They can be enjoyed by everyone. Besides, you can't expect kids to be able to drive a locomotive of any size. Jesus, tap dancing Christ. Her ignorance is infuriating enough, but her actions were downright dangerous. I hope you guys press charges against her. She deserves everything she gets. I work at a hotel. This means I wear more high-end clothes. One day I was out buying groceries. While shopping, a woman came up to me wanting to know where a particular item was. Since I didn't work at the store, I had no idea. I told her, "Sorry lady, I don't know where that is." She says, "Yes you do. You work here." I just look at her and reply, "I'll repeat what I said. I don't work here, miss. I work at a nearby hotel." I then point to my name tag, which has the hotel's logo on it. She just looks at it and lets out an, "Oh." Then she hurries off without giving me an apology. I think she may have mistaken me for a manager given how I was dressed. Or she was just an idiot. Stories like these always baffle me. Yeah, it's embarrassing when you mistake a person for something or someone they're not, but how much effort does it take to say, "I'm sorry"? At least it didn't escalate, so you should count yourself lucky. One day while waiting in the line at my school's cafeteria, 3 guys cut in front of me. I tell them to get behind me, but they don't. I'm pissed off, but they make things worse. They start bumping into me, so I push them back. Once I left the line, they tried to act all innocent. I told them I never wanted to see them again. I knew my wish wouldn't be granted, so I hatched a plan. What did I do? I blackmailed them. I told them they could apologize and never bother me again, or I would tell an adult what they did and they'd get in trouble. They didn't apologize, and I didn't tell on them since I'm a nice guy. All this time I'm thinking, how am I the bad guy? Am I the bad guy? No, you're not the bad guy, just misguided. It sounds like you didn't start this problem, but it also sounds like you tried to continue it. Once you walked away, that should have been the end of it. Unless these 3 guys came at you again, there was really no cause to blackmail them. One of the best lessons you can learn in life is letting go. If you don't, you run the risk of starting a fight over every petty situation, and that's never a good thing. My classmates are a wild bunch. One of them is named Jackson. None of us liked him because he always complained about everything. My friend Steven really hated him. One day, Jackson started whining about the work we had to do. When Steven told him to shut up, Jackson replied he should wash his mouth out with soap and put a sock in it. That was the last straw. Steven dragged Jackson outside and started hitting him. Jackson got super mad and fought back. Fists were flying. I tried to pull them apart, but Jackson ended up kicking me in the balls. Hard. I screamed so loud that everyone in the building came outside, including the nearby elementary kids. I just sat there crying for 10 minutes until the school nurse called my parents. Needless to say, I was mad. Jackson ended up getting expelled for that kick because it almost burst a blood vessel. As for Steven, he stayed in school but got a 3-day suspension. I thanked him for standing up to Jackson. As for Jackson, according to his little brother, he got slapped by the belt 56 times. Yeah, I don't see any heroes in this story. Jackson sounds like a whinger and that can get annoying, but you shouldn't hit someone unless they throw the first punch. Steven should have just told him to be quiet and left it at that, especially since Jackson's comeback sounds like something your grandparents would say. For him to lose his cool over something so small is just disturbing. I'm surprised you thanked him for beating up Jackson OP. After all, if he hadn't started the fight, you might not have gotten your balls kicked in. I don't understand how he got a 3-day suspension and Jackson got expelled. Really, they both should have gotten the boot. It all started back in 2013. I was in the 7th grade and I met this pretty girl called Molly. She and I shared many classes and would often work on projects together. It wasn't long before we became friends. Over the next few years, we would flirt and hug each other every day. After middle school, I developed feelings for Molly and decided I was going to ask her out once we reached high school. That's where the trouble started. I asked Molly to be my date to the winter formal, but she rejected me. I felt embarrassed and upset. I went to the formal with another girl I was friends with. We all had a good time. I thought that despite the rejection, Molly and I could remain on good terms. Unfortunately, that wouldn't be the case. In 2017, I was a junior in high school. Molly and I would still talk like normal, but she started to change in spring of 2018. She started doing drugs and posting nudes online. I was concerned for her and told her as much through social media. When I did that, she blocked me. I was very upset and angry. This was noticed by another friend of mine named Elsa. She and I would talk often and we looked out for each other. Then in 2019, I asked her to be my senior prom date and was delighted when she said yes. We had a fun time, but we weren't actually dating. She had broken up with a boyfriend a few days before I asked her to the prom. In the summer of that year, I worked up the courage to ask her out. To my complete shock, she said no. Once again, I felt sad and embarrassed. When Elsa got a new boyfriend, I was worried she'd go through the same downward spiral as Molly. Thankfully, she didn't. When the pandemic struck, I was in close contact with someone who had the illness. I went into quarantine, which was scary as I had underlying health issues that could have been fatal if I caught COVID. I posted my concerns on social media, and Elsa was the first one to respond. She said she wishes me the best and that I can talk to her if anything bad happens. That was when I realized Elsa still cares about me. It took some time to get over the rejection, but Elsa and I eventually developed a sort of brother-sister relationship. We still talk often and look out for one another. As for Molly, things didn't turn out well for her. In fall of 2018, she was sent to a school for troubled students. She ended up graduating 2 years later than I did, which got me thinking about what might have happened if I had gotten with her. I was glad to not be friends with her anymore. As you should be, she did you a favor by rejecting you. It made you realize who your true friends were. And Elsa sounds like a real keeper. Hang on to her for as long as you can, OP. Best of luck to you. And with that, I'll end the video here. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.